Welcome to Salem Witch Trials Daily, the podcast sharing the day-by-day events of the witchcraft panic of 1692. I'm Josh Hutchinson.
This is Sarah Jack. It's Wednesday, March 30th, 1692, and Rachel Clinton was arrested yesterday and is slated to be examined or questioned by the judicial authorities today. However, no record of this court hearing has survived, so we don't know how that questioning went.
What we do know is that 3 people were deposed against Rachel Clinton on the 30th: Thomas Burnam Jr., Mary Fuller Sr., and Thomas Knowlton Jr.
Thomas Burnam Jr. said in his deposition that one time during the summer, long enough ago he couldn't remember which year, somebody else was milking his cows. So he set up a bit of a sting operation to observe the culprit in action, and it wasn't a video camera.
It was him and his buddy keeping watch over his yard. And one night, Thomas saw a woman in the yard and recognized the clothing that she was wearing as the costume or clothes that Rachel Clinton would wear on a lot of days. But this woman in the yard soon vanished away. And then another night, Thomas saw somebody actually milking the cow, but as he approached, they turned into a gray cat and ran off, as people do.
In her deposition, Mary Fuller Sr. said that on March 23rd or 24th at about 10 o'clock, Rachel Clinton came over to her house and started raving that Mary was lying about her.
And Mary's daughter, also Mary, and a girl named Mary Thorne, a lot of Marys, they had been strangely taken one day a little while before that, though how they were taken is not indicated in the records.
While Rachel was going on about the supposed lying, Mary's brother-in-law's boy came running in, exclaiming that her niece, Betty Fuller, was dead. Mary and others ran to the home of the brother-in-law, Joseph Fuller, where they found Betty lying still, which continued for about 3 hours.
As soon as Betty moved, Mary asked her to raise a hand if Rachel Clinton was to blame for her condition, and Betty did raise her hand. When she had the power of speech again, Betty said, "The woman with the white cape passed by and struck me on the forehead."
Thomas Knowlton Jr. in his deposition said that 3 weeks ago, while Mr. John Rogers and his wife were away in Boston, Rachel Clinton went to the Rogers house and demanded that their maid give her milk and meat.
Rachel then went through several rooms and wouldn't go away, so the maid sent for Thomas to come over and send Rachel out of there. And when he arrived, Rachel greeted him by calling him a hellhound, a whoremasterly rogue, and a limb of the devil.
Rachel supposedly threw a stone at Thomas, but the stone fell short by about 3 or 4 yards and only rolled up to his toe, touching it gently.
But Thomas's big toe practically hollered with rage at the great pain somehow inflicted by the seemingly gentle stone kiss. He described it as feeling as if the nail were being pulled out with pincers.
Thomas Knowlton Jr. also claimed that 3 months ago his daughter Mary was pricked by Rachel Clinton's Specter. After this pricking, Cornelius Kent, John Best, and Thomas Knowlton III went to Rachel's home and threatened to knock her brains out if she pricked Mary anymore. And for 3 months since then, Mary has been well.
And this reference here to knocking her brains out, this draws on New England's experience with warfare. There were many wars with the Native Americans and the French. And in those wars, clubs were a common weapon, and they're used to knock people on the head, as it was described in English texts. That's what this reference comes from, the warfare that's going on. We see a lot of other allusions to the warfare in the Salem Witch Trial documents, in people's, when they're being questioned by the magistrates, when they're giving testimony, people are talking about the war that's going on and using imagery from the war to describe the witchcraft that's supposedly happening.